The COVID-19 pandemic has shown the ever-increasing importance and role of unions, especially in uncertain times, and the safeguarding of workers' rights. How have they been doing their job, and is there a bigger role that they can play in getting the economy back up on its feet? NUMSA spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majola joins me now for more on this. Phakamile, the country is in such a difficult economic position. From the outside looking in, it looks as if there's been very little that unions can do in order to safeguard the jobs of workers.
Good afternoon, Cathy, and thank you so much for having us on your show. Actually, if you consider the crisis that is facing the working class in this country today, it actually has meant that trade unions have an even bigger role now than they had before in order to not just safeguard jobs, but also to guarantee health and safety in the workplace. In South Africa in particular, we've seen massive violations of health and safety taking place, particularly around COVID-19. And it has been our work as NUMSA to raise the alarm and force employers to do the right thing in order to guarantee the health and safety of workers during this time. There's a lot of changes that have to be implemented in the way that we do work, and we've seen that not all employers are willing to adjust themselves to the new normal.
What does this mean for employees, and how does a union like yourself go about ensuring that those who are in employment today know what their future prospects are and how they can better prepare themselves for those?
Well, it is a very difficult situation that we find ourselves in, because what the lockdown has done is that many companies were forced to shut down. They were not operational for a couple of months, and this has had a significant impact on revenue for many companies. If you look at aviation, for example, companies that are aviation companies or that service the aviation industry or tourism industry have been extremely hard hit during the COVID-19 pandemic because of the travel bans and the lockdowns. As NUMSA, we're not exempt from that. We've been served with many Section 189 notices across the board from different companies because of that impact. And this is why it is so important that in this time when you're going through this extraordinary impact that this virus has had on jobs and on the way that we work, that government has an even greater role to play. I was listening to the interview that you had earlier with The Economist, where he was explaining how the macroeconomic framework of the country has been severely affected because of so many companies shutting down. Because of the fact that COVID-19 is something that nobody predicted, becomes even more pertinent for governments to intervene directly, for governments to adopt policies that, for example, guarantee income, that cushion companies and industries and sectors during this time. And these are some of the things that we have been saying need to urgently be adopted if we are going to save the South African economy.
Sure. And of course, you know, the role of unions themselves cannot be undermined. And you're right when you say that your work is needed now more than ever. But the reality is that the labor market is such that the negotiating power of unions seems to have been reduced, because oftentimes when you go into these negotiations, you don't necessarily have a confirmed partner in government or even in the employers that are involved in these negotiations. So how are you navigating this period?
Well, for us, that has always been the case. We've never, since 2013, certainly when we broke away from the alliance, we have not had that guarantee of a partnership in government, as COSATU, for example, depends very heavily on its relationship with the governing party. But you are right, Cathy. The landscape has changed. There are very, very difficult challenges that we're dealing with right now. We have a lot of companies that are restructuring during this time, companies that have taken decisions to either cut salaries or cut benefits or cut jobs. And they say that these are decisions that they have to take in order to survive the pandemic. But this is why it is extremely important that you need a caring government that's going to take the right steps in order to safeguard the economy. Spain, for example, has taken such a decision. It is illegal for a company to dismiss workers on the basis of coronavirus. They've had lockdowns which have gone on longer than ours. And the Spanish government has intervened directly. It's ensured that it's sufficiently cushioned businesses during that time, and it has embarked on a partnership to guarantee incomes, working together with those companies to ensure that no worker and no family is left stranded as a result of the financial impact of this virus. So yes, as trade unions, our work is to lobby and protect workers' rights on the shop floor. But when you're looking at this crisis and the impact that this virus is having overall on the economy, it also demands that government must intervene with better, stronger policies which are geared towards safeguarding workers and their families and the economy at the same time.